Welcome to our traditional handmade paper-making village of the Noong ethnic group. The craft of making paper from the bark of mace law in Noong or paper mulberry, or its scientific name is Brucinicia papyrifera, has been passed down for hundreds of years from generation to generation. Handmade paper is not only used for writing, painting, and creating ancient books but is also deeply tied to the spiritual life of the Tay and Noong people in Caubang. From birth to passing, every important stage of life is accompanied by handmade paper, from peace-seeking ceremonies and coming-of-age rituals to funerals.
Today, we will introduce the step-by-step process of making this traditional paper. Follow me.
This mulberry tree is tall and straight, with smooth bark, just the right material for making paper. Cutting the tree also requires experience. We only select mature trees, not too old, not too young, so that the bark has the right balance of toughness and softness.
After cutting the tree, we immediately peel off the bark. It's easier to remove when the tree sap is still fresh, keeping the bark soft. We discard the outer layer and keep the inner bark, which is more delicate. The process requires skill to separate the layers without tearing the inner bark.
That's right. The outer green layer must be completely removed. If it remains, the paper won't have a beautiful white color. Only the pure white part of the bark is used to make high-quality paper.
After being stripped of its outer layer, the bark is dried in the sun like this.
Exactly. The freshly peeled bark cannot be used right away, it must first be dried. Sun drying makes the fibers stronger, easier to store, and helps with later processing. If the bark is still moist during the next steps, the paper will not be durable and will tear easily.
Even after drying, the bark is still too tough. It must be soaked in spring water for a few days to soften the fibers, making them easier to pound. And it's important to soak the bark in cool, clear spring water like this. That way, it won't develop an odor or decay. The bark is typically soaked for about a day to soften properly.
Once the bark has been soaked in water long enough, we continue by soaking it in white lime water for about 2 to 3 days. The lime helps clean the fibers and makes them stronger. If not soaked thoroughly, the paper will tear easily.
After that, we boil the lime-soaked bark for 3 hours. Boiling helps soften the fibers completely. During boiling, the fire must be kept steady to ensure the bark cooks evenly, making it easier to pound into pulp.
After boiling, the bark is washed again and soaked in spring water.
Next, we spread the softened bark on a wooden surface and pound it with a wooden mallet. This is a crucial step in turning the fibers into paper pulp. We must pound it evenly until the fibers become smooth and fine.
Once the bark is pounded into a fine pulp, we place it into a water basin and stir it thoroughly to dissolve the fibers. We also add a natural adhesive and smoothing agent extracted from a vine called Kriahau into the pulp mixture and continue stirring. As you can see, after thorough mixing, the paper pulp turns into a thick, pale yellow liquid.
This next step requires skilled hands and patience.
Here, we use a bamboo frame to dip into the pulp basin. We lift it gradually and shake it gently so that the fibers spread evenly across the frame, forming a wet sheet of paper.
The wet paper sheets are then pressed for 2 hours with heavy weights to remove excess water. Once the water is drained, the sheets are dried. Finally, we dry the finished paper by sticking it onto walls or using a kiln to speed up the drying process.
As you can see, these handmade paper sheets, created using traditional methods, are now complete.
Ladies and gentlemen, the craft of making paper from mulberry bark is a precious heritage, a testament to the skill and dedication of our people. Handmade paper is not just a material for writing or painting, it is deeply embedded in the beliefs and culture of the Tay and Noong communities. We hope that through today's experience, You will appreciate these traditional values even more and take with you wonderful memories of this beautiful art form.